It's the black guy in the corner, but they'd rather see a on the corner. They say I'm stealing Nick's clips like I'm stealing Nick's chick, not knowing that I hit him first week for the lick. I said, Nick, I could post here while you post there. Let's run the ads up, then let's meet up over there.
We're going to take a look at our second story, which is all about the Israeli foreign aid. This one is even better. maybe this will put things in context. So our second story is about how Israel is seeking another memorandum of understanding with the United States, and we'll explain exactly what that means, but it's basically shorthand for foreign aid to Israel. That's the mechanism, how Israel gets the foreign aid. And so the current U.S.-Israel foreign aid deal expires in 2028. Under this deal, Israel has been getting $3.8 billion per year for the last 10 years. It's called a Memorandum of Understanding. And the past 3 of them have been 10 years in duration. So Congress passes it, it's good for 10 years. And in this MOU, every year Israel's getting a paycheck. So the current MOU has Israel getting $3.8 billion per year for the last 10 years. The previous one was $3.6 billion for the previous 10 years before that. Well, the Israelis recognize the trouble that they are in. Young people do not support Israel. Young Democrats, young Republicans, the young people do not support Israel. And across the board, people support Israel less than they did 10 years ago. And Israel recognizes this trend is only getting worse. So understandably, they're worried. They're worried that if the MOU is passed this time, maybe the next time when it expires in 2038, by that time, you'll have elected an Israel-critical progressive president or an Israel-critical nationalist president. And maybe they won't want to give Israel another 10 years of aid when the next 10 years are expired. So Israel is currently seeking a 20-year memorandum of understanding. Israel wants a 20-year deal. They want to lock us in while they have control over our government for the next 20 years. And they want to increase the amount of aid they get every year. So presumably, if they went from 3.6 to 3.8, if history is our guide, then maybe they want to go at least from 3.8 to 4, maybe more than that. A minimum of $4 billion per year for 20 years. For 20 years, they want the United States to commit to giving Israel $4 billion every year. And how do they want us to do it? They want us to give Israel a lump sum of cash as a loan, which we will forgive at the beginning of the year. Why do we do it this way? Because if we give it to them as a lump sum in cash, then that means Israel can use the cash to buy U.S. treasuries and earn interest on the aid that we give them. It's all true, it's all factual. We're going to give them the money at the beginning of the year. Here's your $4 billion pallet of cash. And Israel will take some of the cash. They'll buy U.S. debt so that we're paying interest on the aid that we gave them. We give it to them as a loan and forgive the loan. Because if we gave it as a grant, then we would have oversight over how they spend it. So the benefit of a loan is that we eventually earn the money back. The benefit of a grant, even though we don't earn the money back, is we have oversight over how it's spent. Well, if we give it as a loan and forgive it, we get neither. We don't have the oversight, we don't get the money back. This is what they do. We actually have to borrow money to give them the lump sum at the beginning of the year. So we're incurring debt to give them money so they can buy our debt, so we pay interest on the loan we're giving them, which we forgive, so that we don't oversee how they spend it. That's how the deal is structured. That's how the current foreign aid works with Israel. This is all in, I believe this is in the Israel Lobby by Mearsheimer and Walt. They write extensively about this. Unlike any other country, Israel gets to spend 25% of the foreign aid on their own domestic defense industry. So people like to say all the time, well, but they spend the foreign aid in America. No, they don't. Every other country has to spend it in America. Israel only has to spend 75% of it in America. They have a big domestic defense industry because a quarter of it, which is a significant portion of their federal or their national spending, goes to their own defense department. This is the tremendous deal. So Congress is going to give them a 20-year deal, and think about it. We're broke. The debt just hit $38 trillion. Elon Musk tried to cut the deficit $1 and couldn't. The deficit is going to be $2 trillion. The debt is $38 trillion. We can't pay it back. We have 3% inflation. Federal funds rate is what? It's not zero like it was. You want to get a mortgage, it's 6.5%. 50,000 jobs lost. We're in stagflation. The country's broke. Private debt is at an all-time high. Public debt is at an all-time high. Interest on the debt is now one of the biggest expenditures of the U.S. government. And Congress is going to lock us in for a 20-year deal. Someone that was born now will be 23 years old when we're done paying Israel billions of dollars per year. A congressman who is elected now, who might be 85 years old, is going to sign America up for a 20-year engagement. This is our country. 50-year mortgages and 20-year foreign aid deals, $38 trillion in debt, $2 trillion deficits year over year. This is our country now. This is a story from antiwar.com. It says, quote, Israel is seeking a 20-year military aid deal with the United States and is looking to increase the annual amount of assistance it receives from Washington. A 20-year deal would double the usual term for U.S.-Israel aid agreements. The current MOU, negotiated under Obama, was the third 10-year deal between the two countries. The current deal provides Israel with $3.8 billion in military aid, expires in 2028. Axios reports that Israeli officials hope to have a replacement deal over the next year. According to Brown University, in the 2 years following October 7th, the U.S. government spent at least $21.7 billion on military aid to Israel, another $10 billion to $12 billion on the war in Yemen, Iran, and other military operations in support of Israel. So we're in the hole, $3.8 billion in foreign aid, $500 million for David Sling and Iron Dome. That's $4.3 billion. Then we're down another $35 billion in military aid to Israel for their war in Gaza. So we're up to close to $40 billion. Then you have to add to that the cost of all the deployments of carrier strike groups, of missile interceptors shooting down Iran's missiles, which I think actually is higher than what they're reporting. So maybe $40 to $50 billion in the past year for Israel's war. And now they're coming back for more. They're coming back for an $80 billion deal over 20 years. According to Axios, initial discussions between the U.S. and Israeli officials on a new deal began in recent weeks. Israeli officials are worried that it may be more complicated to negotiate due to growing criticism of Israel within the United States, including President Trump's base. And for that reason, they have proposed America First provisions for the deal. One proposal the Israelis made was to use some of the funds for joint U.S.-Israeli research rather than direct aid. This is out-of-the-box thinking, an Israeli official said. We want to change the way we handled past agreements and put more emphasis on U.S.-Israel cooperation. John Hoffman, a research fellow at Cato Institute, wrote, there is no such thing as America First tweaks to the deal. The Israelis want a 20-year MOU and will likely ask to increase from $3.8 billion the amount they receive annually. This is the epitome of America last. Now do you understand why they don't want people criticizing Israel? Now do you get it? This is what it has always been about. Israel wants us to bomb Iran. They want us to bomb the Houthis. They want us to bomb Hezbollah. They want us to bomb the IRGC. They want us to give them billions of dollars to bomb their enemies. They want us to defend them when their enemies shoot back. This is what we call an unlimited, unconditional security guarantee. It is a relationship without limits, and there are no conditions attached to it. Think about every way that we help them. We're giving them money. We're giving them missiles. We're giving them our most advanced technology. We're bombing their enemies for them. We're defending them when their enemies shoot back. We're giving them the weapons to kill their enemies. We're vetoing resolutions in the UN condemning their conduct. Their economy is dependent on Israeli billionaires and the private charity of U.S. donors. This is what you call an unlimited, unconditional guarantee. The U.S. government treats Israel better than they treat its own states. Trump's government is treating Israel better than it treats California. Remember when they snuck in a provision that said FEMA won't do search and rescue operations if a city doesn't pledge allegiance to Israel? There are more conditions on FEMA helping Americans drowning in a hurricane than there are conditions on U.S. military aid to Israel. Think of that. Florida gets hit by a hurricane, and America's support for Florida is more conditional and more limited than America's support for Israel killing women and children in Gaza. That's the dynamic. Without limits, without conditions. And this is, by the way, this is why you need to understand who Josh Hammer, Mark Levin, and Ben Shapiro really are. Ben Shapiro has an Israeli wife. He lives in an all-Jewish neighborhood in South Florida, which is a stronghold for American Jews. He has been a tireless advocate for Israel for 10 years. Josh Hammer used to work for Ben Shapiro. He too has an Israeli wife. He describes himself as a Zionist activist. The two of them are in Israel all the time. You know who else has an Israeli wife? Sean McGuire at Sequoia Capital, one of the leading venture capital firms in Silicon Valley, which provides the seed money, the startup money, for defense technology firms. If you want to start a tech firm, an AI company, some other kind of company that's involved with the DOD or the DOW now, you're going to get money from Sean McGuire or Peter Thiel, who's in bed with Alex Karp. These people that love Israel. Now, when in the United States, you have people at the colleges saying, we don't like giving all this money to Israel, that's a big problem. Because those people that are working at Heritage Foundation, working or in college at Harvard or Yale or Columbia, they're in a congressional office. These people are going to become the political class, and their voice is amplified in the political system. And if you have enough of those people, then that unconditional, unlimited partnership that the U.S. has with Israel starts to have some limits, starts to have some conditions. Are you starting to get it? Israel says, we're worried that in 10 years, we're not going to get another deal because of how much people are turning on Israel in Washington and in America. This is why they're buying the media. This is why Larry Ellison bought TikTok. It's why Barry Weiss is the head of CBS. That's why David Ellison bought CBS for his media company. This is why Heritage and all these college Republican groups are looking for the Groypers. And that's all Shapiro and Josh Hammer and Lonsdale and McGuire and Alex Karp. That's all these people really care about. It is about Israel. They say it's about everything else. They say, oh, it's about his rhetoric. It's about Nick Fuentes being a Nazi. It's about Western civilization. They say it's about everything else. But for them, it's only about this. Israel is coming to us looking for more money, which they require. Their military is dependent on the foreign aid. And they know that if the political climate in America is skeptical or critical of the U.S.-Israel relationship, they can't count on the money. Now, what are they doing in response to it? Well, they're using the Trump administration. The Trump administration is their vehicle. They're using it like it's an extension of the Israeli state. Think about it. What they're effectively saying is, Oy vey, the goyim know, in 10 years, no one can stop the noticing. They're saying in 10 years, there's going to be so much noticing that Congress will not give us more money. So we need to get as much money as we can now. We need a 20-year deal so that we can bypass that future vote. We want a 10-year deal, and we want to extend it 10 years after that already, because we don't think we'll get it in 2038. They see the Trump administration before the midterms as the last opportunity to get $80 billion from the U.S. taxpayer, and Trump is going to give it to them. Trump is going to give it to them. But the House of Representatives has the power of the purse. The House of Representatives, all appropriations, all spending bills have to originate in the House. And the Republican majority is a little slim there. It's looking a little slim. Republicans have a majority of what, a handful of votes? So what happens if, let's say, Marjorie Taylor Greene, Thomas Massie, Lauren Boebert, what happens if even just a handful of Republicans say they're not going to vote for more foreign aid for Israel? You can't get your 20-year deal. Now do you see why they're so mad at Marjorie Greene? Now do you see why they're so mad at Thomas Massie? Now do you see why Miriam Adelson is arranging $20 million to be spent in Thomas Massie's primary in the midterm elections next year? Now do you see why AIPAC arranged $100 million in spending in the previous cycle to unseat progressive Democrats that would vote against foreign aid to Israel? Now do you get it? Understand? And this is, by the way, why we call it organized. Because it's organized. Larry Ellison has a net worth of $350 billion. He runs Oracle, one of the most important tech companies in the world. He's a Jew. He's a friend of the IDF. He's a friend of Netanyahu. He bankrolls the purchase of TikTok so they can ban criticism of Israel. He bankrolls the purchase of CBS so they can hire Barry Weiss to control all the editorial decisions at the company and ban criticism of Israel and reframe the news. AIPAC, the American Israel Public Affairs Committee, deploys $100 million specifically to unseat left-wing progressive and right-wing nationalist congressmen and women that are going to vote against foreign aid to Israel. The ADL, Anti-Defamation League, defamation of who? The Jewish people. Led by Jonathan Greenblatt. He's got a line at every social platform. In some sense, he controls who has a platform and who doesn't. He leads the boycott against Ye, against Mel Gibson, against other companies. Are you starting to see this is how they operate? This is how they maintain control. They find the bottlenecks, they find the choke points in the elite institutions, and they focus their money, position, and resources to squash dissent, create chilling effects so that other people are afraid to step out of line. And this is how they drag a country to war. This is how they get a bankrupt country to promise to give them $4 billion a year for 20 years. That's how they do it. That's how they've always done it. And that's all these people like Josh Hammer and Shapiro and Levin and Loomer and the rest of them, that's all they care about. They don't want people to think these things. They don't want people to hear these things, say these things, organize on the basis of them. They don't want people that think these things in positions of power, because they know that the more that happens, the less money Israel's going to get. And Israel needs that money because they want to expand their borders. And they have a lot of enemies that they cannot fight by themselves. That's the grand irony. Shapiro says, if you can't afford to live in the city you're born in, well, live somewhere else. If Israel can't afford to fight its own wars, we have to send them $20 billion immediately. Really? And this is where people are getting pissed off, because that's bullshit. Americans are being told, if you can't afford groceries, if you can't afford your house, get a 50-year mortgage. I don't know, get a debt contract with the bank for half of a century. You can't afford to live in the city your ancestors are buried in. I don't know, go work on an oil rig or something. Oh, Israel can't afford to fight its millions of enemies that they created to make their country bigger? Oh, we'll send them the missiles. They need $20 billion immediately. Really? You with your Israeli wife? Are you kidding me? And that's all they care about. This punk, Ben Shapiro, look at what a spiteful mutant he is. Look at what a spiteful little creature he is. He looks wicked. He looks in his face wicked. He's got his big giant hat on, and he sits there and he says, you can never retire, Goyim. Just get a 50-year mortgage. Go move somewhere else. Our country's broke. Our future was mortgaged. We're debt slaves to the government and BlackRock. If we can't afford it, get lost. Fuck off. If Israel can't afford the wars that they themselves start, Shapiro says what? We have to bail them out? We have to defend them? We have to give them our money? Why don't you go and live there? You didn't even marry an American. You don't have American kids. You don't have an American wife. What's stopping you? What are you even doing here? Get lost. This country's for Americans. The tax dollars are for Americans. The government is for Americans. Everything you see here, this is for us. This is our country. And Trump is being used to thwart it. As long as Trump is America last, I'm not with Trump. And these guys like Shabbos Kestenbaum and Mark Levin and Randy Fine, they want to hide behind Trump and say, you're not MAGA. You're right. As long as MAGA puts America last, to hell with Trump. I don't want him. As long as Trump is with those guys, you can keep him. If Trump is with Randy Fine and Lindsey Graham and Ben Shapiro and Psycho Loomer and Mark Levin, you can have him. If that's what MAGA is, you can keep it. We want America first. We want America first. We want Tucker. We want Candace. We want Fuentes. We want Brett Cooper. We want Marjorie Greene, Thomas Massey. We want America first. That's the new movement. You can have Trump. You can have Shapiro. You can keep all that. We're done with that. And for people that say good riddance, I say see you in the midterms. For all those people that would say, who needs you? We don't need you in MAGA. Yeah, well, good luck in the midterms. Good luck with your majority because we're out. You put America last. You want us to vote for a Republican Congress for what? So you could give our money to Israel? Fuck off. We won't show up. We won't be there in 26, and we'll be there in 28, but you're not going to like it. We are coming in Iowa. We are coming for you in Iowa. We are coming for you in New Hampshire, Nevada, South Carolina. That's what they don't want to see. We are in the universities. We are in the think tanks. We are in the congressional offices. We are in your walls. And we will be there in every caucus, in early primary state. We will be there in the GOP primary. And if you think you're going to pull this next time, forget it. Trump says, I don't need your vote. Well, let's see how that goes for your buddy, J.D. Vance. Not going to go the way you think. You're not going to like it. So that's that. 20-year deal. Another $40 billion to Israel. Why not? It's not like the country sucks. Don't give it to Americans. Yeah. Give it to every other country. Give it to Javier Milei, the pro-Israel worshiper, right? And by the way, do you remember that? Remember all those people that said Javier Milei was awesome? Do you remember their names? Because I do. Remember when Bronze Age pervert and raw egg nationalist and Jonathan Kieperman, otherwise known as Lomez, remember when all those people said Javier Milei is awesome? And where did he go when he won his election? He went to Israel. He said he wishes he was Jewish. And now the Trump administration's given him a bailout. So Milei gets a bailout. Zelensky, the Jew, gets a bailout. Israel gets a bailout. That's crazy. Damn, that's crazy. We're over it. Anyway, that's that. We're going to move on. We're going to take a look at our super chats. We'll see what you guys have to say about all this. By the way, I was right about that too. I said Javier Milei, bad news. And everybody said, what? But he called the leftist a shithead. Oh, yeah, I guess he's based then. You know, you guys got to get a little smarter than that. That's why we just started saying, you know, He's Jewish. Simple enough, right? Simple as. Remember, people said, he's based. Look at his chainsaw. That's funny. He has a chainsaw. That's hilarious. And it's like, dude, he's selling us out. All right, anyway, let's take a look at our super chats. We'll see what you guys have to say about all this.
All right, let's get into this combo. Israeli foreign aid. 20 years. What did they say? 20 years, 80 billion, about 4 billion a year. Where's Ben Shapiro when you need him? I thought Ben Shapiro said that I've been saying for the last 10 years that Israel shouldn't be taking money from America. All right, well, put it out there. Put it out there. Don't pick and choose when to say that, when you're trying to relate to Americans, when you're trying to actually stand on it. Why don't you tell us how you've reached out to Bibi Netanyahu, or how you reached out to Donald Trump and told them, hey, we don't need to be giving money to Israel. It's all a lie. It's all a lie. All right, so let's get to these notes. So Israelis recognize young people are not supporting Israel, and everyone else isn't doing like it's done in the past. We're not the boomers. My bro BK said it earlier, like, you're not going to, in every aspect of life, whether it's religion, whether it's politics, whether it's food, whatever it is, you're not, whether it's medicine, you're not just going to blindly sell us on something thinking that we're going to just buy into it like our parents did. We're not that generation. We're not scared of what's to come. And even if we are scared about what's to come, perhaps we have so much access to certain things where we can't ignore it like our parents may have ignored it or looked the other way, because they didn't have it right in front of their face on smartphones. They didn't have access to see what Trump said this day, and then they play another clip of the video of Trump talking about H-1B visas when he's now in office. They didn't have the access to the TikTok videos where they're trying to tell us all the things that Hamas did to the Israeli soldier, or the Israeli hostages, to where now the videos are coming out. Wait, no, this is what the IDF did to the Palestinian hostages. Because they're not all Hamas, obviously, even though Israel and Mark Levin, Randy Fine, Lindsey Graham, and a lot of these others, Josh Hammers, Ben Shapiro, would like us to think. Bibi Netanyahu, right? The Amalekites, think about that. They keep referencing that group in the Old Testament, the first group that went up against Israel, where God allegedly, I think he told King Saul or something, God told somebody, delete that and kill everybody. Kill the women, kill the kids, kill the pets, kill the cattle, kill everybody. And that's who Bibi Netanyahu referenced Hamas and the Palestinians to, the Amalekites. We're not buying into it. And we're actually getting quite offended by y'all continuously trying to sell us on something that we keep telling you we don't want that product. We don't want it. We're not interested in it. So I looked this up a while ago when it comes to the advantages and how we give Israel aid compared to a lot of the other countries that we give aid to. With a lot of the other countries, we give them aid based on when they need it, right? With Israel, we give them aid in a lump sum to where I guess Nick was describing it as they buy our debt and it's held in the U.S. banks, and then we're accumulating, then they get the interest. So essentially we're paying the interest to them of the money that we had to borrow in order to give to them so they could buy our debt. Like, this is insane when you really think about it and break it down. It sounds so crazy almost. You're like, hold on, am I understanding this correctly? And then I didn't realize, Nick said that it was 75% that they have to spend on the U.S. military, or the U.S. military industrial spend buying U.S. weapons, but then they could spend another 25% on buying Israeli weapons. So now we're supporting their economy, supporting their businesses, their weapons manufacturers. Not only that, what happens with the interest? They can spend that on whatever they want. Think about the type of money that accumulates on billions of dollars over and over and over. And who knows how this 80 billion, I'm sorry, that they're trying to get over the next 20 years. Who knows where that's going to come from? Who knows what type of, is it going to be a lump sum? Is it going to be every 5 years? If I was Israel, I would try to get that money as soon as possible because the tides are shifting. All right, let me get back to the notes. All right. So, and then Nick was talking about the difference between the grant and the loan, where if they give out a grant, then they have the oversight of it, right? You give a grant, you can look at it a little bit. Or they were saying, or do I have that wrong? Is it a grant? Maybe I'm hold on. Let me look that up just to be clear. Bear with me for a sec. Y'all right. Does America give Israel military aid in a loan or grant? Whatever it actually used to be the opposite, because I remember looking it up a while ago. It used to be one. Okay, so it says the United States military gives it as a grant, not a loan. Okay, so they're giving it as a grant, so they don't have to pay it back. And then with the loan, obviously you'll have oversight on it. Somebody loans you money, you get to keep track of, how what's going on with that money, things of that nature. So it says that America does not give Israel military loans. Yeah, grants. So I think it used to be loans, but then it was grants. Neither here nor there. It doesn't matter. I just want to make sure that as I'm communicating with y'all, that I'm saying the right thing, because I don't want y'all repeating the wrong thing because I said the wrong thing. All right. So we're giving them grants, not loans. So that way they don't have to pay it back and we can't have any oversight over it. Isn't that amazing? All right, let's keep going. So they want a 20-year deal. This is the Ben Shapiro energy. Ben Shapiro, if you can't afford to live in America, in the city that you grew up in, the city that your ancestors lived in, the city where your descendants helped to build, if you can't afford, you got to leave. Go. That's not American. American is no. If you can't meet the expectations, then you have to get out. Well, where's that energy now when it comes to Israel? Israel, if you can't defend yourself without America, then perhaps you don't have the right to exist. That question that you always like to ask, that we don't even know what it means. You just like to establish that as the it's like a boundary to the conversation. Okay, well, now that we agree that Israel has the right to exist, I've heard Charlie Kirk say this. I've heard many people say this. What does it mean, the right to exist? You stole people's land who actually took you in when everybody else was kicking you out. You took their land to create your country. Now you're trying to ethnically cleanse them off of the part of the land that was left to them that you still had control over to a certain degree, right? You ended up now you want to take that. Now you're asking me a question of does you have the right to exist? This is the entitlement that I'm talking about. And because so many people have said, yes, we have the right to exist. Yes, Israel has the right to exist. And they start to just accept this. And now anybody else that says it, you're offended by it. It's almost like that. What is a woman question? It's like you hear so many people not able to just address straightforwardly, what is a woman? And so many men and so many adults who cowered and just won't say, look, man, a woman is a lady that was born with a vagina. Like, this is a woman. Well, there's a spectrum of gender or this is what happens. Can't just answer a question straightforward. When so many people are walking on eggshells with it, it creates a sense of entitlement to the perceived victim in the situation. So I wrote down, I don't know if y'all watch basketball, but I'm sure that you could think of another sports analogy. So there's a guy like Dylan Brooks or Draymond Green, or think of like Dennis Rodman or Patrick Beverly, right? In basketball, there's certain players on those teams that when they're on your team, you love them. You love them. They'll go extra hard. They always getting into it with another player. They're your protector. They're the ones that are going to set the tone. They're going to bully the bullies, right? All that. Going to come with that aggressive energy. You like it when it's on your side, but you're scared to death of it when it's on the other team. when it's not aligned with how you see the world. This is why they're so offended by Candace Owens, by Nick Fuentes, by Tucker Carlson. This is why, because they know that those are the ones that have the courage to actually stand on the very same things, or the opposite things, I should say, that they're pushing, but with the same energy or more aggressive energy. See, you like when Charlie Kirk has that energy, or Ted Cruz or whoever else is saying that, hey, we got to be good to Israel. You like when it's that way. But then when Nick Fuentes is questioning, like, why are we giving Israel funding? We don't owe Israel anything. Candace Owens is questioning the involvement or the influence, along with Tucker Carlson, that Israel has over the government. You don't like when certain people call a spade a spade. You don't like when these people are on the other team. You respect, you celebrate it when they're speaking up for you. If Candace Owens was having her same energy to speak up for Israel like she used to in the past, like a lot of people used to in the past, they would love her. They love the Officer Tatums. But anything else that has the same energy, that doesn't align with their beliefs, their objective, their agenda, they can't stand. And that's what we're witnessing. That's what we're witnessing. Let's keep going. I think I already touched on it. I have in the notes here. Did he touch on Trump again? But yeah. Oh, this is when I was actually reminded of how Trump, I believe, could save his legacy, that I put in the last video, where Trump, this is your moment. The only way that you could save your legacy is to jump on that grenade. You got to jump on that grenade. We know that you're being blackmailed. We know that you're being bullied. We know that they have something against you. It seems as if, I don't know who's letting these Epstein files out slowly, but it seems like are they messing with Trump to say, hey, you better make sure you get these things done, or else we'll release the rest of. I don't know what's going on. But Donald Trump, you're lying. You got caught lying. You got caught putting other countries' interest ahead of America's interest, which, I mean, a lot of people would say that that's traitor behavior. The worst thing that a president could potentially do. The only way for you to salvage this presidency, salvage your legacy, your brand, maybe bring MAGA back to have a little bit of respect, fall on that grenade, be completely transparent, say, hey, this is what I was getting blackmailed for. This is the embarrassing things that I did. Let me put them out there. This is what I'm ashamed of. This is why I didn't want to put the Epstein files out. I violated my oath to y'all, my duty to y'all as the president of the United States. I understand that I violated your trust. I don't expect you to just believe everything that I'm saying now moving forward. But this is something that I need to do for America. This is something that I'm not doing to just win back your hearts. I'm not doing just to win back your respect. I'm just doing this because this is the job. This is my duty. This is my obligation. And I believe in making America great. I believe in putting America first. And I'm going to show y'all by risking my life, by putting myself on the line, my well-being, just to expose the corruption and the manipulation and influence, the blackmailing that's been controlling America's political system on both sides when it comes to Democrats and Republicans. Trump, that's what I see the only option. I mean, can y'all see any other path to Trump even redeeming himself a little bit? I can't see it. So will he do it? If I was betting everything on it, I'd say hell no. But if things start to fall a certain way, if maybe Trump sees this as, oh, this is a way that I can look amazing, or if he just gets to a point where he just is willing to crash out and respond emotionally, like we heard him respond when he was yelling at, they both don't know what the F they're doing. Now, obviously, this would be something that is a lot more extreme and has the potential for a lot greater repercussions. But perhaps he will do it. Perhaps he'll surprise us all. Yeah. And Nick made a point. I'm not even sure. He said something about the FEMA support and how Florida gets hit by a hurricane. Then that aid, let's say if the state doesn't align with Trump's politics, then, we'll weigh that out as whether or not we should give them aid or something. He was saying like that. But it was just another example of, when it comes to Israel and the aid that they get, they could align with whatever. We got to align with them and still give them aid. It's like, align with us. Oh yeah. And give us your money too. Give us your funding. We're not going to spend this money ourselves. Y'all owe us. Why do y'all owe us? Well, just because we got y'all on blackmail. So who knows? I'm just speculating. I'm looking at it from the outside and just like, y'all, it's clear as day. Y'all don't see that? And then Nick brought up the $1 million question, the $1 billion question, since we're talking about the funding that we provide to Israel. This is the $1 billion question, the Miriam Adelson question. What happens if a few House Republicans don't vote for this aid bill to Israel? Could more things get exposed? Could more leaks come out? Maybe this is why they're attacking Thomas Massie and Marjorie Taylor Greene so much. Maybe this is why Miriam Adelson is willing to put up $20 million to try to primary Thomas Massie and get him out of there. It'll be interesting. It'll be interesting. All right, that's all I got for y'all today. Let me let y'all get out of here. As always, appreciate y'all continuing to rock with me, continuing to build. We're building this together. So hopefully y'all still continue to appreciate the feedback. You know, try not to just get on here and just recite the very same things that Nick is reciting or Nick is saying. I give it to y'all from my perspective. This is my perspective. This is how I'm seeing things. Hopefully y'all appreciate it. All right. So let me know where I'm wrong. Let me know where I'm right. Like, subscribe, turn your notifications on, turn your notifications on, turn your notifications on. Got to say it 3 times for Dr. Umar. He said that's the only way that the people are going to actually receive the information. All right. So like, subscribe, turn your notifications on, and leave a comment if you have the time. All right. Let me know where my bias may be creating some blind spots for me, where I'm not seeing it as what? Y'all know what I'm about to say. Seeing it as objectively as I believe that I am. So, or I sometimes think that I am. Who knows? On that note, I'll see y'all soon. Ew.
It's the black guy in the corner, but they'd rather see a nigga on the corner. They say I'm stealing Nick's clips like I'm stealing Nick's chick, not knowing that I hit him first week for the lick. I said, Nick, I could post here while you post there. Let's run the ads up, then let's meet up over there. Let's figure out a split that's honorable and fair. Tell me where you trying to take it. Bro, I'll meet you there. 1600 Penn, Wash, DC. Swear I saw the vision riding through the DMV. I envision prayers, but I could do VP. Hillbilly Elegy, fuck, I look like JD. Shout out my cheat code, Dave and Karen raised me. And my big bro, a nuclear family. And they don't like that. Strong fathers in the crib, BLM fought that. LBJ society created all that. Victimhood mentality, I can't embrace that. And everything they taught in school, assume it's all cap. Everything I said I'd be, I am that. Everything I said I'd be, I am that. Everything I said I'd be, I am that. Ain't no introduction, just some fun facts. In case you were wondering, I am that. I know you heard me hit it 3 times for Dr. Umar. Shout out to Umar, man. We ain't kicking nobody when they down. And shout out to everybody that continues to show love, support, appreciating the message that I'm giving y'all, along with the bro Nick's message. We gonna keep pushing, man. And shout out to the haters too, cause y'all in the comments heavy too. y'all the ones that gave me the inspiration to create this song. They kept saying like, who's the random black guy in the corner? I am.